Africa.
A very good afternoon to you, and thanks for joining us on our program on television, Africa Discourse, on Independent TV. My name is Evan Sunukuge. Well, for quite some time now, a lot of persons have expected that the three nations in West Africa, talking about Burkina Faso, Mali, and of course Niger, will one day leave the economic, bloc. Talking about ECOWAS, because we've noticed and we've seen the trajectory for quite some time now, the way these three nations have been going. Now, these three nations have been riddled by insecurity for quite some time, and despite the fact that they've been taken over by the military junta, it has not helped these three nations in any way. And we also saw when the three nations had to, especially what happened, recently, the last one now, that was in Niger, whereby ECOWAS had to come out in full force to give a stand position that not until Niger returns back to, popular rule, popular political rule or democracy, that ECOWAS will have to stand against Niger and, of course, Mali and Burkina Faso. But we saw how the military junta in Niger, to be specific, had to take their stand. And only about some few days ago, we heard that finally Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger had to leave ECOWAS. As it stands now, ECOWAS has only about 12 nations. Before this time, out of the 17 nations in West Africa, 15 nations were part of the ECOWAS. But as it stands now, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali leaving ECOWAS. So it stands with about, ECOWAS stands with about 12 nations. Now, what are the socio-political implications, if you like, the economic implications for ECOWAS on one hand, and of course, what are the socio-economic and political implications for these three nations that have exited the ECOWAS? So that's what we're going to be talking about today on the program Africa Discourse. Well, today we are so privileged to have Mr. John Osazua, a foremost lecturer with the Department of Political Science at the University of Benin. Sir, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers.
Thanks for joining. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
All right, now. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. All right, sir. I'm sure it did not come to you as a surprise when you eventually heard that Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger finally exited the ECOWAS. Did it come to you as a surprise?
From the political viewpoint, you should know that every state, every nation has their own interest. And going by the nature and doctrine or theory of state creation, let's begin with evolution. These are francophone countries,
yeah.
And all metamorphosed from assimilation, the doctrine of assimilation during their colonialism. So they have similarities in their interests, and it goes to define their international relations, which is their foreign and national policies. And going by evolution theory, they've seen that they have evolved over the years, and this evolution has not actually benefited them. Considering the assimilation has not actually benefited their citizens, their indigenes, as was contained under that social contract that, yes, we the Francophone, we the French country, we colonize you, there are certain things you are going to get. And if you see the personality involved in this military junta, they were kids then, or most of them were not even born then. So they must have observed, keenly that their country was now losing. Therefore, and the political class, which is the democratic class, were not actually synthesizing the interests of the nation. So therefore, they have to go by the rule of force, which is also a force nation. And they must have consulted among themselves, among some elites. Of course, every country you have elites, which we call oligarchs. They must have consulted and said, come on, get these people out of power. And that was how they come. So to them, there must be certain benefits. One, they are not in control of their natural resources. They determine who gets what, when, and how now, the natural resources. The only disadvantage is that the international community and the ECOWAS is going to be using influence and access in depriving them from foreign aid and foreign benefits. That is just the only disadvantage. But for them to determine how their country will look like is good. you now begin to ask the questions of what benefit has ECOWAS been to them over these years? Of what benefit will ECOWAS still continue to be to them? Of what relevance, you know? So they might have considered this, articulated and aggregated it to say, it's better we take the bull by the horn, it's better we take our destiny in our hands. But you know, isolation policies simply says that no single country can survive on its own. Can survive on its own. How this is going to play out, we really don't know. But again, you know, the world is dynamic. The world is dynamic. Remember, they have very good mineral resources that is going to attract some blocks, you know, and that can also bring a bad benefit. Whether that is what they are relying on to exit ECOWAS and chase out the foreigners, the French, the Americans, and all that, we really don't know. But time will certainly tell.
Okay. All right. So one of the strongest reasons that these three countries have given is that ECOWAS has not helped, you know, these three nations in any way. Because before now, as a matter of fact, the reason why these three countries are ruled by the military junta is because of they've had issues with insecurity.
Yes.
You know, the Al-Qaeda, the Al-Jihad movement, Islamist movement, you know, all these
even
three
swap, they're all there.
It's been a problem to them.
Yes.
So that's the reason why military junta took over this country. You have Burkina Faso, Mali, and of course Niger. But even you know, military coming into governance in this country, it has really not helped in any way. So the question that we give now, despite the fact that they have given their reason that ECOWAS has not helped them to fight insecurity in any way. So the question that we ask now is that as these three nations, just like what you said, as they're going to be living in isolation now, do you think they can help themselves as it stands now?
Now, like I told you, their mineral resources stands as a comparative advantage to them. They have uranium. They have other resources. It depends on the level of harnessing, whether it's going to be patriotic or not. That is what is going to help them. You can see the citizens jubilating because they've been annihilated over the years by the political class. And they feel so ashamed to be called citizens of Mali, citizens of Burkina Faso, citizens of Niger, when they have resources that can you know, emancipate them from that acute poverty. Now, the military junta are those who are very close to power, who understands the security statistics of how the people have been suffering. Remember, these are not Nigerian military men in Burkina Faso, Niger. These are Nigerians who have taken over the power. They have felt the pains. They have felt the insult. Therefore, they have to now take over this power. Now, yes, the world will certainly condemn them because military junta is no longer welcome. It's no longer, you know, acceptable as a means of governance in the world. That is why they are being condemned. What they should do is to engage in dialogue. I think that would be the best to do is to engage in dialogue because these three nations, they are very close. They are very close. They can combine and do any fucking shit out there.
Sorry, we don't use such word on air.
This American English.
Yeah, you know, we apologize.
With due respect. That is, they are ready to unleash mayhem. You see, they released the president that they overthrew on halt. But just leave governance for us. It now depends on the ability. What is the nature and degree of the human capital of these military men? Outside the uniform, these are citizens, these are humans who can actually articulate and aggregate how best their people can be governed. And they are also trained to fight insecurity. As we can see, I think we Nigerians is even experiencing more insecurity than Niger and the Mali, because the military are in power. They know how to displace, annihilate, you know, extinguish the insurgents that are there. So it has reduced in that particular place. Now they have to now move into the resources to see how they can rebuild. Of course, democracy will certainly come back, but it has to take some time. Look at the people. You can watch it from the screen. The people are happy. They are happier happier with a consolation that these people will be able to, these military juntas personnel will not be able to rebuild their nation, to rebuild their hope, to rebuild their faith in the country that is acclaimed belongs to them.
Okay. All right, so the program is still Africa. This goes on independent television. So let's quickly hear the underlay sound of the visual that you saw a while ago, talking about the way these three countries have come together now. Now, before this final exit, we understand that these three countries had to enter into some form of security pact.
Yes.
You know, paving their destiny, trying to find a headway for themselves. So let's quickly, you know, hear maybe 1 or 2 minutes the underlay sound of that video. Then, of course, we'll return back here.
After 49 years, the valiant people of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger regretfully and with great disappointment observe that the organization has drifted from the ideals of its founding fathers and the spirit of Pan-Africanism. They argue that ECOWAS, under foreign influence, betrayed its founding principles and became a threat to its member states and their populations, which it was supposed to ensure the well-being of. The organization notably failed to assist these states in their existential fight against terrorism and insecurity. Worse, when these states decided to take their destiny into their own hands, ECOWAS allegedly adopted an irrational and unacceptable stance by imposing sanctions that were illegal, illegitimate, inhumane, and irresponsible.
Thank you so much. The program Still Africa. This goes on independent television. Now, let us look at the socio-economic implication that this is going to be for ECOWAS. There's no doubt about that, whether we like it or not, it is also going to affect ECOWAS as a bloc. The way the exit is also going to affect these three nations. Mr. John Osazua, what do you think are the implications for ECOWAS, these three nations leaving the bloc? Let's start from there.
Now, first of all, you could see the body language of the head of, I was making that broadcast.
One of the heads of state now, I think
very confident, disappointed at the ECOWAS composition, because ECOWAS is a creation, it's a child of necessity that emanated from social contract agreement that we all live within West Africa. They call West Africa, and there must have been a mutual understanding, and the man just simply said they are disappointed. ECOWAS could not, whether verbally or materially, come to their aid when they have insecurity. First of all, poverty was actually affecting them. ECOWAS did not show any sign. Now that they said they are taking their destiny in their hands, fine, yes. What would be the worst thing? Nigeria, Nigeria will say, okay, we are not relating with Niger, but that will be difficult. Remember, religion will come in here. Religion, that is, we're talking about social now, social relations. Religion will come in here. Ethnicity will come in here. Tribe will come in here. They have Hausas there. They have Fulanis there. They have Muslims there. So are you saying they won't relate with these people? They are going to relate with them. Yes, but it's going to be reduced. That diplomatic relationship will no longer be there. You know, that diplomatic relationship. But interpersonal relation will continue.
Okay. So, but one thing that we seem not to be, explaining here now, because we understand that one of the reasons, the major reasons why the military had to make incursions into the political space of these three countries now was simply because of the insecurity was so high that the democratically elected, governments in those countries as they were, they could not handle the issue of insecurity, and of course the military came on board. But even on that, take for example in Niger. We still hear large amounts of insecurity in Niger. So is it that the military junta has also failed? Let's take it up from there.
Now, the truth must be said. The security nature in West Africa, with due respect again, is religiously based. Is religiously based. And religion is that institution that has the capability of commanding a particular behavior of a people over a period of time. And the majority, that is the leading religious group there, I say with due respect, Islam. Are you getting me? They believe in, some of them, believe in this hostile and very violent way of doing things.
Well, we'll say
I say with due respect.
Yeah, your own opinion.
Yes, a public opinion.
It's your own opinion,
yeah,
a public opinion.
So what is then is that if you check the statistics, the linear relationship, the correlation, it is so close. You find manipulators in Niger, also manipulating in Burkina Faso, also manipulating in Nigeria.
Are you getting me? This is the situation. You are explaining the situation now.
Yes.
But what we are asking, the question I'm asking, when the military junta came on board in this,
it's going to take some time. Like I told you, I just said institution, because their behavior have been encapsulated. It has been managed. It has been structured to act that particular way. Now, insurgency or insecurity is also a means of agitations. It's also a means of attracting governmental attentions. Those in power, when I say governmental attentions, those in power, attracting the attention by certain group of individuals. Are you getting it? That is what is, and it's kind of a power play. A power play between some agitators who could not get to that governmental gladiatorial level. Are you getting it? So the best way to do that, they have to now make use of a particular institution, which I said is religion. Yeah. Are you getting me? Yeah. To get the attention. And people are more sympathetic, are more empathetic towards religion
yeah.
than government. So that is what is actually playing out. But for the military, they are not using that as a variable. They are committed to fix, and it's going to take a little time.
Okay. Now, a while ago, I asked what are the implications for this exit of these three nations for ECOWAS?
It's not going to affect them. It's not going to affect them if they are steadfast.
You think so? It's not going to affect member states of ECOWAS?
It's going to affect ECOWAS. It's going to affect ECOWAS strength. It's going to affect ECOWAS
member states.
It's going to affect their integrity. In other words, it's going to put ECOWAS into test. ECOWAS leadership into test. How competent are they to resolve conflicts of this nature? If they are not able to resolve this conflict, which has now metamorphosed into crisis, it means that ECOWAS will be labeled as a complete failure, as being enunciated by this military junta, that they've disappointed them. It means that, yes, it coheres with what these military juntas are saying.
Now, as it stands now, do you think ECOWAS still has, because before now, ECOWAS has the responsibility of trying to take these three countries back to military, to civilian rule. But as it stands now, these three countries, they have left ECOWAS as a bloc. So does ECOWAS now, does it still have the right? Does it still have the right, so to say, to want to start renegotiating with these
First of all, you not check the ECOWAS. Nigeria is a member of ECOWAS. Nigeria is destabilized by hunger, by corruption, by poverty, by insecurity. So when are we going to get the attention to attend? The same thing as Cameroon, the same thing as other ECOWAS country. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So the attention from the leaders of other ECOWAS group will be limited. The citizens will tell our president, Mr. President, sir, please let us concentrate and see how we can fix Nigeria first before attending to
ECOWAS issues.
Yes,
that was the problem. Remember when?
So attend to our issues first before attending to other people's issues. So that's why I said it depends on the composition, on the nature and degree of the leadership competence
of ECOWAS.
So to see how they can liaise. They don't have to use force. So how they can liaise, lobby, convince these people, look, things will come back to normal. Things will come back to normal. Now, you know there is an international dimension to Mali and Niger because of their mineral resources. They ask those people to leave. This is where the international relations will come in because of that mineral, natural minerals that are there. Say, look, talk to these people. Talk to the general.
Yeah, these three nations, they don't want to be spoken to now. They want to be on their own.
It depends,
so if ECOWAS
it depends on the nature of how you present the issue. It depends. They know that they cannot resolve their issue alone. They need the assistance of other nations. It depends on the bargainer. It depends on the negotiator. It depends on the negotiator. You can't just come into my house and start telling me, let's hold the meeting in the toilet or outside the house when I have a parlor. No, it depends on how you are able to present the card. Now, they will also respect them as an independent nation. They are independent nation.
Yeah.
So there's a limitation. This is where diplomacy comes in. You look for those who are diplomats, who can actually talk and convince. You can as well also use this religious institution. If, for instance, let's say, for instance, the Sultan of Sokoto goes in there as a very reverend and respected Islamic personnel, they will listen. But if you send somebody like John Osazua, I'm gonna kick me out.
But as it stands now, because their interest, foreign interest,
use religion. There must be a variable.
Even if you use religion, Mr. John, they are foreign interests. Now, remember, this whole fight is between the West and, of course, you have the U.S. To say,
France,
and you have Russia,
yes,
through the Wagner Force and all that. So, even if you try to use some other countries to come in and all that, don't you think these other countries, they have interest too, vested interest in these three countries?
It depends on your approach. It depends on just the approach. Define the approach. These are humans. They listen. They have a soft spot. The military have a soft spot. The security, they have a soft spot. You know, you look for a means. You look for a means of talking to them, of getting into their hearts, of winning their hearts, of winning their soul, of winning their passion. By the time they begin to listen, it means that, yes, you have set the state. Without that, you want to come and use force. They are ready to die. Those three military men, they are ready. They have, in fact, the what we call the electorates from the democratic side, which is the citizens, they are willing. They have strong support
for the military.
For the military.
The junta
for the junta.
In these three countries.
Yeah, they have very, very strong. So it is their leaders, those military juntas, that are going to also convince the citizens. Like we say, fellow Nigerians. This is what we have reached. Fellow Burkina Faso, this is what we have reached after due discussion. Because they trust that president or head of state, they will not listen and not follow suit. Because someone has been able to pierce their emotions. Someone has been able to change their human capital, the military human capital, making them to feel a sense of belonging, making them to know that, look, military regime is no longer a universal system of government. Come, we'll give you time. We'll help you to plan. But please, take it easy.
Okay.
It depends on the diplomat.
All right, so let us also look at the implication now for these three nations. A while ago, we were looking at the implications for ECOWAS, as these three nations have left ECOWAS now. So the implications for these three nations now, I mean, we have said anyway that no nation can be on its own.
Yes.
But as it stands
there are three now.
These three nations, they are not really alone, as it were. I mean, three countries coming together. But the question is, how far can they really go? I mean, without the support of ECOWAS, we are talking about economic relations here, you know, within the sub-West African region, the Sahel region and all that. So how far can they go?
The basic challenge for these three countries
now
is that they are interlocked countries.
Yeah, but
they are interlocked. So
they are interlocked. They are interlocked countries. They must relate outside these boundaries.
They will need support from outside their country.
Yeah, Niger is just next door neighbor here.
Yes.
I mean, as it stands now, there are economic embargo between Niger and Nigeria.
Nigeria, yes.
And Niger is already suffering it the way Nigeria is also, you know, having its impact.
Nigeria has Nigeria, our border is so porous, so they can always send something there. So let us be realistic here. It's very porous.
Anyway,
if you want to be strict, if they want to be strict, they can snuff out Burkina Faso, suffocate them. I told you they are interlocked. There is no sea. You understand me? There is no sea where some aids, foodstuff can come in, goods, some socio-economic, you know, materials can come in. This is where they will need a dialogue. This is where they need an interpreter. This is where they need somebody, a motivational speaker. This is where they need a convincer.
So you are saying that this exit will not stand for long?
No, it's not going to stand for long. It's not going to stand for long. Because, one, France, US will not want to give up. China, Russia will not also want to give up. They are all interested in that mineral resources there that are benefiting their economy. They must look for means of convincing these men. At least, looking at this particular general, maybe Ed Mashar, you can see he must have attended certain military courses outside the country. So he has friends. They will penetrate them, tell them to calm down. But in terms of the thing they will survive for a very long time, up to about a decade, no. It's going to be difficult for them. Then the mindset of the citizens will start changing.
Yeah, but don't you also think that they may go the British way?
Do they have the resources to mine?
When Britain left the EU, the European Union, a lot of us thought that they won't survive, and they've been surviving for quite some time now. So
we're talking about developed country and underdeveloped country. Developed country. If they mine their mineral resources, where are they going to sell it? How would they get those materials outside their country?
They have vested interests. You mentioned Russia. How
would they come in? Because you see, you have the West Bloc, you have the East Bloc.
There are embargoes.
Thank you. As you can see now in the Red Sea, no vessel is allowed to go out and to come in. So how are they going to take their mineral resources outside their country? This is why I said the leader's heart is going to be pierced with somebody very close, somebody very, very close to them. And it's going to be, if they're able to penetrate one of these generals, that general can penetrate others. Say, understand? How are they going to remove their uranium? Okay, like our crude oil, is it not when Dangote started and Port Harcourt refinery? How are we going to refine? If you start pumping fuel now in Nigeria, you want to burn many cities because a lot of pipelines have been destroyed. So we don't have the resources. So they don't also have the resources to mine and produce better things from their uranium. You know, so it is these outside countries that has the wherewithal.
You know, like somebody was trying to explain that one of the reasons
that is going to be their socio-economic effect.
Yeah, that one of the reasons why you have onion, yes. One of our staple items we use in cooking now.
Yes.
One of the reasons why you have it so expensive in Nigerian markets is because of the embargo. Onion does not come from Niger into Nigeria anymore, so that's why onion is so expensive.
And the Esme, they've chased out all the farmers.
Anyway, let's quickly
look at the way the man is dancing.
Yeah,
you can see the loyalty. You can see the acceptance.
Yeah,
acceptance.
All right,
that is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the program is still Africa This Course on Independent Television. We're looking at the exits of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from the ECOWAS regional bloc. All right, so we'll take a short pause now, and when we return, we're going to be looking at the kind of signal that this is sending, because we have other regional blocks too. We have some other regional blocks that maybe some other nations are already flexing their muscles that, hey, we're going to leave the way these three countries have left the ECOWAS. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you so much. What a wonderful time joining us again on the program Africa This Course on Independent Television. And we are looking at the exits of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger from ECOWAS, the regional bloc in West Africa comprising 15 countries before now. But as it stands now, 15, you take away 3, is left with only 12 nations of ECOWAS. So the big question is, what message is this exit sending to other regional blocs? I will leave that to our guest here, Mr. John Osazua. Now, Mr. John, we are looking at a situation whereby the possibility of other nations, you know, also trying to say that, okay, we are living, remember we have various, about 17, 19 regional blocs, you know, in African continent now. They can say, member nations can say that we are living. Don't you think so?
Of course. That is why I had earlier said that it depends on the nature and degree of the leadership of ECOWAS. This is a great test to their leadership qualities and capabilities. It's a great test to ECOWAS' existence. And by extension, I hope it will not affect the African Union, which of course, if they can exit the ECOWAS, it inevitably means that they've also exited African Union. That is why I said the leadership, ab initio, the way they started their reasoning, their reaction to this military junta was a great fiasco. It created a kind of what we call what brings about aggression.
No, but a while ago you said that the military, junta is no more in fashion. So what
is no more in fashion?
Leadership?
Military junta is a reactionary system of government. It is not a choice. It is by a few, and they tend to make it for the many.
Yeah,
meanwhile, democracy is for many, by the many, and with the many.
To what extent can we say that now, Mr. John Osazua? I mean, let's
are
look
they
at
no
the
indigents?
last.
Are they no citizens?
All right, let's look at the last one that happened in Niger. A situation whereby Nigerians actually came out on the streets of Niger, and they were applauding the military junta guys that, okay, we welcome you and all that.
Yeah.
So if you have that situation, would you still want to say that?
It depends on the nature. You have what we call frustration aggression. If you have been alienated by the so-called people you elected into offices, there is bound to be aggression. And you see Iranians from the military, from the uniformed personnel, coming to reassure your hopes, your aspirations, your faith in the nation you believed in. You'll be joyous. That is exactly what is happening now. ECOWAS, you see, since their exit, I have thought that ECOWAS leaders ought to have assembled, to articulate and aggregate what is happening. We have ambassadors there. You have ambassadors, they have ambassadors in other countries to see what is actually happening. What has happened? Where did we go wrong? Where are they going wrong? Where are they going wrong? Just look at the streets. Feed up with people in support. So what we're saying is this. When you are alienated from the society, when there's a big gap between the government and the citizens will start thinking otherwise. So anything that will kick out the immediate regime will be celebrated. That is what is happening there now. Now, it now depends on, like I said, the nature and degree, the capabilities of ECOWAS leadership.
Yeah.
If not, it will be a failure. Some other countries will start planning of leaving.
Yeah, we asked that a while ago.
Yeah, they will start pulling out.
Yeah.
ECOWAS has not rendered them any economic, political solution, social solution,
economic solution
to their plight over the years. So of what use? ECOWAS is like an utopian type of association. It exists in the mouth, or it exists in the brain, not reality. When you say ECOWAS, that means a regional in loco parentis that are supposed to stand in for the children. Nigeria is a child of ECOWAS. Niger is a child of ECOWAS. There are people there. And when I say leadership of ECOWAS, we're talking about, it is not another person that is the chairman or members of ECOWAS. The president, these are the president of these countries. How articulative are they? How diplomatic are they? How human are they? How sociable are they? How capable are they to handle human problems? These are human problems that can be resolved by humans. Are you going to call those aliens that were kicked out again? Show some level of leadership. Empathize with these three countries. Empathize. They are ready to suffer. They are ready to take 1 square meal or even food a day. They are ready to bear. They are ready to endure. Not that they know, not that they don't understand that the military junta is bad, it's archaic at this modern age, at this jet age, but they feel so consolidated. with this set of people. First, they've not heard of any embezzlement or stealing since the junta came. So they are satisfied. They've not heard that one minister, I don't know whether they call them minister, I don't know what they call them, are stealing money. They've not heard that their wives have traveled to Dubai or other country to go and be staying instead of staying there in the country. They've not heard that. So they are satisfied. But ECOWAS will not want to lose them. It's a great blow to ECOWAS.
Okay. Now, how would you want to react to the insinuations making around the corner now, in reaction to the exit of these three countries from the ECOWAS, that the ECOWAS is considering taking, these three nations to the International Court of Justice? I don't know. I don't know the underlining treaty that is signed. I mean, for like 45, since I think around 1975 now, when the ECOWAS came on board, right from then, nations have joined and all that. So how would you react to that?
Using the legal terminology, ECOWAS has no local standard.
To take them to International Court of Justice? Of
what interest? They will be abusing. They will be abusing the independence of those countries. They have been.
You mean the sovereignty now?
The sovereignty, yeah, the sovereignty.
But don't you think when we say political sovereignty, I mean, you're a political scientist now. When we say political sovereignty, it's more when you are looking at a democratic regime.
There is an international clause. Do not interfere in the internal politics of a country. It is there. So why are you taking? What are you going to say? Are you living? Are you residing in the country? So the local standard is not that the ECOWAS case is not even ripe enough. Let me use on that terminology, on that concept in law. It's not even ripe enough for them. Whom are you taking to? Is it the military men or the citizens? So that is why I said diplomacy is what is needed here. Is what is needed. Look for people who are friends to these military juntas. They have traditional rulers. They have religious elders, oligarchs. You have oligarchs in every way, in every place. You have religious oligarchs, you have academic oligarchs, you have political oligarchs, you have security oligarchs. You have them. They are out there. So try and get someone who can talk to these people. You think the military are just there without the support of these gladiators, religious gladiators,
the superpowers.
Thank you. Yeah. There are certain people. There are certain people, certain cliques, certain cluster of citizens who are in support of this present situation.
But don't you think this is where we go again now? I mean, don't you think there is something on the African continent that we are not seeing? I mean, as Africans now. Now, these same superpowers that try to preach to us that, hey, democracy is the best form of, government, these same superpowers with their interest always try to fuel, the insecurity, the social conflicts and all that on the continent of Africa.
This is a great, very strong question. Now, if you produce, let me just use this Mazim situation. Those undertakers that produces a casket and coffee, would they be happy or happier to have more people, more customers? They'll be happier. These people sell weapons. They sell, other things that are needed in Africa. You have to shake the tree. So it's their own interest. It's that kind of one of their international policy clauses. They have to sell their weapons. They have to sell a lot of things that are needed by Africans. But it requires the Africans too to think. Have you ever seen problem in Morocco? Algeria, Egypt, are they not same Africa? Are they not within AU? Have you seen turbulence, political turbulence there? Rwanda, there was turbulence, but Rwanda is balanced now. Ethiopia, there was turbulence, is balanced. Because the leaders woke up. They started covering the gap between the government and the citizens. There is always a gap. What is this gap? One, you must, those basic necessity, food, shelter,
education.
That is the gap. That is what average citizen requires from government. Then let there be a little bit of transparency, whereby you now have some with due respect again, some academic neophytes, and politicians or Democrats, having more values than well-endowed and equipped academians. Whereby you now see certain people, because they can speak half grammar, they are in a pulpit, they are more honored. Whereby you see certain kleptocrats, becoming celebrated in a society, it angers you that base your life on merit. It infuriates you. That is what is happening. Let ECOWAS wake up. This situation might be a child of necessity. In other words, ECOWAS, you've been sleeping. Your resources, the resources within your region, have you harnessed it very well over the years? Go back and think. How are your citizens, all ECOWAS, how are they? How are they faring? What is the nature of health, hospitals, education, some infrastructures that can help to cope insecurity? Insecurity, one of the factors that influences security is greediness and poverty. Greediness and poverty. Those are the major things that increases insecurity. I don't have money and someone is laughing at me. Then if I have means, if I break his head, I'll be able to disarm him. Are you getting it? So ECOWAS, the solution lies more with ECOWAS than these three independent or sovereign states.
Okay.
It's a pity that they have to resort to military system of government, which is ruled by force or rule of the force. However, if this can bring succor to them, like in Nigeria, all the international stadium, all the nation stadium, teaching hospitals were built by the military. Built by the military.
All right, so as we draw the conclusion on this discussion this afternoon, just like what a political analyst said, that before now in these three nations, what was there for the military junta was how to relate with ECOWAS on how to see how they can bring a popular regime, talking about democratically elected presidents into these countries now. But as it stands now, nobody's talking about that now. What they are talking about now is that they are leaving ECOWAS so as to fight insecurity. You want to conclude on that as we draw the conclusion?
ECOWAS would have been an advantage for them to fight insecurity. It would have been a joint venture if ECOWAS and these three sovereign nations both to come together to fight insecurity. However, like I said, there must be somebody who will dictate the pace. There must be a general. There must be some personnel, some leaders that are well respected, which are called elder statesmen, that ought to come in. Pitiable, we have a very, very limited patriotic elder statesmen, with due respect again. So this again is going to actually affect, let me tell you, these three sovereign nations is going to take about 6 to 10 years.
For them to return back to popular rule?
I'm telling you, there's going to be another military, they will overthrow them. Yeah. Overthrow them.
They will overthrow themselves?
They're going to overthrow themselves.
So they may not return to popular rule?
Because first of all, these people are trying to, just like a mechanic, they're trying to fix the engine now. You have to have another people who's going to fix the body of this. So that is how it is.
So they are fixing these nations in parts?
Fixing in parts. One person cannot. There's going to be anger. That is why they say military rule is not going to let the people. But the people are happy. That is the most important thing. It is difficult. You need the cooperation of the citizens, called the electorate, even for the foreigners, even the ECOWAS leaders to come in. But that is not there now.
Yeah.
The loyalty of the citizens are with the military junta as
now,
we speak
the
now.
loyalty of the citizens are with military junta in these 3 countries. Now,
Yes.
does that cascade to perhaps other countries? Do you think the military need to come into governance in other countries to get it right?
When necessary, I think so.
I'm talking about African countries now.
Yes.
You support
But like Egypt, no. Morocco, no. Algeria, no. Those people, are they better than us? Are they better than the other? Do they think more than us? That is what I'm talking.
You mean the civilian heads or
both the civilians and the military there? We have people. We have eggheads who can think, but the egg is like it's rotten. That is the problem. Not that the people don't actually like the civilian rule. They want to participate in that democratic exercise. But whereby it is being abused, it becomes so frustrated. They become so apathetic. They become so alienated. So therefore, let those who have the power to take over the power, let them take over the power, provided they have their peace and their comfort. That is just the situation. I want to appeal to ECOWAS leaders, another ECOWAS elder statement, to please assemble themselves as a matter of urgency. This time you have to appeal. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, we're sorry. The first approach we used was too autocratic. We are sorry. We are brothers. Of course, you remember, over the years we've been living together. Let's come together. Sheathe the sword, okay? So don't worry. What do you want us? What do you expect us to do? Insecurity, we are going to fight it together.
Okay.
But without that, saying you must step down. Come and step them down.
All right, so as it stands now for members, states, the former members of states of ECOWAS, talking about Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, now they cannot use the ECOWAS passports anymore because by the implication of the fact that they have left the ECOWAS, they are not entitled to use the ECOWAS passports.
They don't need
anymore.
it. What are they committed?
And of course, they also don't entitled to do business with members of some other West African countries that were hitherto members of, that are still members of the ECOWAS because they have left the regional bloc.
But they can travel outside the country.
They can. I mean,
they are still members of AU. So of what benefit? That is why I said dialogue, lobby will be the answer. They can travel. What are they coming to do in Nigeria, first of all? We Nigerians are even looking for a way to go out. What are they coming to do? I said they want to come and be pushing wheelbarrow or picking debris.
Anyway,
so,
we want to say a very big thank you to Mr. John Osazua for finding time to come on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Always a delight to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
And this is where we draw the curtain on the program today. Until the same time and next week, my name is Evan Sunukuge. Goodbye and God bless you.